Welcome to Cyber Talks, where we discuss all things cyber. We'll share real stories, practical insights, and exciting tips based on our own experiences. I'm Kenyon, a red teamer at Psy, and with me joining here today is Chen Levy.
Hey guys, nice to meet you. Nice to be here.
Today we'll share our experiences on how we deal with engagements when we start an engagement with our customers, when we start our pretty much a security assessment.
Yeah.
So I think let's dive straight into it.
All right.
So Chen, as I would say a veteran red teamer in this security field, how does one approach such an engagement when hired by a customer to perform a security assessment?
Usually what happens is that we start by gathering tons of information regarding that client, that organization, enterprise, whatever it is. It could be even, specific personnel. But what we do, we'll just gather multiple digital assets, whether it's IP addresses, domain names.
How would you gather them exactly? Can you share like the exact tools?
All right, so we can scrape it all from open source tools such as Census or Shodan or whatever. This is like the first stage. Is going to be passive. We're not going to interact actively with any asset in the perimeter.
So these are like publicly available information.
Yeah, it's super legal. Anyone can do it because it's just the information is there for you to take and more likely to search exactly for it. So and we will assemble at the same time a whole list of users, email addresses, personnel, roles, who's doing what in the company. Usually we're aiming for social media sites that we can scrape out of, and marketing sites such as Hunter.io. There are tons of sites that supply email addresses and email conventions of each organization. So we'll start by that. The whole recon phase.
Yeah, so just to a short summary, you're trying to build like the structure of the organization, like see who are the employees, which titles, what are the significance of each employee in their respective organization.
Yeah.
And collecting each of their email addresses.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
So let me just give you an example from real life. It's actually a recent engagement that we had. So what happened? We did just what we talked about. We gathered the whole list of 1,000 users, which is just a small portion out of the whole organization. The organization is huge. It's relatively huge. 1,000 users is just a small portion out of it.
Yeah.
And we noticed that the organization is using Office 365. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to spray passwords. And for the people who don't know what password spraying is the concept of going low and slow out of all the password attacks. So we took, we assembled a small list of passwords, really easy ones, and we started our spraying. We compromised 3 counts out of 1,000, which is actually nothing, but it's enough, to be honest.
I mean, as long as you even hit 1 or 2, it's like, I would say 1% out of 1,000. It's already 10 targets.
That's what I need, exactly. So we prompted MFA while doing so.
Okay.
And this is why we didn't want to continue with our spraying as long as we got 3 compromised accounts. So our next step.
Why didn't you want to continue?
So if it will prompt too many unattended MFA prompts, that could alert some blue teams. We don't want to be caught, even though we're using, we're rotating IP addresses.
Yeah, the source addresses.
We will never do it from one source because we can get caught. We don't want to lock out users.
So it starts to become suspicious when you start like triggering a lot of multi-factor authentication.
Exactly. Of course, we're using jitter and delays between requests, so it will be a lot more legitimate for the Azure, dashboards and everything. So after hitting those 3 counts, we search for internet perimeter facing assets. So our key assets to hunt for is those with the host name of VPN, remote access, Citrix,
Interesting.
VDIs, whatever that can get us as attackers inside the organizational infrastructure.
Yeah, so any remote access solution that a
Yeah.
company uses.
Yeah, so we found a VPN solution that I won't mention its specific name.
All right.
And that solution is assembled out of two components. And what we didn't know at the time is that these two components are absolutely independent. And what I mean by that is that, you know, the IT staff was sure that everyone is going to download a safe and official client of the VPN solution.
All right.
And, you know, work by the peacetime flow that developers meant to have in
Yeah,
this
like
VPN.
the actual flow of
Yeah.
authentication.
Exactly. So what we did is we tried to authenticate to the other, the second component of the solution, and we got prompted to enter domain credentials, and that's it. We got an internal IP.
Oh, well,
Yeah, we got.
without a multi-factor authentication.
Yeah, without any MFA prompted. We got an internal IP. We could resolve the internal domain name.
Wow, that is actually
Yeah, we could reach the domain
okay.
controllers. Yeah, and the way to full compromise was pretty much short afterwards.
So would you assume that that was like a vulnerability or an actual misconfiguration?
So I wouldn't call that a vulnerability because, well, if they actually configured it a lot more secure, and what I mean by that is enforcing MFA at the other component
Yeah, on
as
both
well.
components.
Exactly. Although it's not convenient for the employee, well, it's a lot more secure, and we
Yeah.
actually proved it for them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was
pretty cool.
actually neat. Yeah.
So you pretty much got in and
Yeah.
proved an external access to the internal network.
Yeah, some nice impact. Some nice impact
that's
for,
very
for the
cool.
report. That was nice. I heard that you guys in a pretty recent assessment got an internal access as well, though.
Oh yeah. Okay.
With some creativity.
Yeah, we also had interesting, let's say, ideas
Yeah.
to gain access from the external. What we found out on one of our engagements that the organization had, let's say, legacy email authentication that was still enabled. I believe it is already pretty much deprecated, but you still be able to find deprecated email authentications in use, which are pretty much like IMAP or ActiveSync protocols. And what happens on those protocols is that multi-factor authentication does not apply to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It simply does not support that.
So old.
Yeah, it simply does not support it. So what happens, you can use the protocol, for example, the IMAP protocol, log into their email inbox, and pretty much gain access to the employee email without multi-factor authentication,
Yeah.
as long as you manage to capture a few credentials from the password spray that you mentioned earlier, and you pretty much gain access to the email inbox. And what we did, we started scraping the inbox for in general email, trying to understand what they're talking about, what they're using.
Yeah.
And we found that you can send an email to the support, to the internal support, and pretty much say,
Like open a ticket.
yeah, open a ticket or send an email, and you say, hey guys, hey support, can you reset my multi-factor authentication? I lost my device.
Oh, come on.
And as long as you have access to the email, they will reply with you, yeah, sure. Yeah,
They
okay.
sent you
and
a link to
and moments
re-enroll.
later, they send you the QR code
That's
with the
crazy.
authentication. You plug your device in,
That's crazy, man.
and then you can log in as much as you want with multi-factor authentication.
All right. Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah,
to be honest, like you need a process, a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
process of like trusting the employee. It's
Yeah,
not like I'm a
so-
legit employee. Give
Yeah,
me,
it's
give
not
me
it's not even malicious because
Yeah, it's not.
you're a legitimate employee trying to gain access to his
Yeah.
remote access.
And
network.
if in the organization that's the process of re-enrolling to MFA devices, so that's super legitimate. Like
Yeah.
you have nothing to be suspicious of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that was a really cool way to get inside their internal network.
All right. Do you have any other story you want to share?
Yeah, one of the stories that where we gain external access into the internal network, I want to mention a great credit for Mo David in this one. He found
My
this.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. What we found is that when we perform our external scans on their internet perimeter, we found like the source code of apparently the of some web application that
Okay.
they were using.
Related to the
Yeah,
organization
apparently
you
it
were
was
testing.
some. I would say that I would assume it was like a backup source file,
Okay.
and it comprised of multiple libraries and also some DLL files.
Okay.
And once we downloaded it, we started to decompile it. And we decompiled the DLL files, and we tried to find like any functions or web pages that are deprecated but could allow us to pretty much gain remote code execution.
Okay.
And what we found is that one of the functions was called file upload.
All right.
And
Jackpot.
if you're anyone who deals with who performs the security assessments, you want to use the file
Yeah.
upload.
Yeah.
And we checked that on the actual web application, the
Was
site,
it valid?
and it was actually valid, and we could use it to upload our web shell.
Cool.
And using that, we pretty much got remote access
that's nice.
to the internal network, and we pretty much dived in, and we started to comprise the corporate domain network. And one of the things that to pretty much allow us to gain complete access to the domain is something that you're pretty much aware of. Pretty much I would say the ADCS,
Active Directory
Yeah.
Certificate Services. Yeah, yeah. That's going on for a while now, for the last year or so. But just before jumping in ADCS, like the getting RC to internal access from the external one with published source code and reverse engineering DLLs. Usually you come up with weird files and you don't want to mess with them.
Yeah.
You just want to continue with your test and engagement. You just want to get the impact. You want to get POCs. You want to get your targets, and that's it. But why I really admire what you said here is you have to be so inquisitive about things that you find and be like, nah, I'm going all the way with this.
Yeah. Sometimes
Amazing.
when you find stuff, you want to dive deep as much as possible. Instead of trying to go wide to cover as much as possible, if you find anything, you want to deep dive as much as possible and see what any holes you can find to exploit in this case.
Exactly. Wow, that's admirable. That's admirable. Yeah. All right, back to ADCS. So it's it's a negative point for each organization right now. It's the weakest link right now, in my opinion, at least. We can see it being abused all over the last year. Personally, almost every organization I'm landing into is pretty much a quick win to just enumerate ADCS.
Quick win?
Yeah, quick win.
Okay.
Just to enumerate ADCS and for vulnerable certificate templates and just abuse it. And what I mean by quick win, it's actually quick win for both sides. And why is that like that? It's because for the attacker, it's pretty much easy to just enumerate the certificate templates and enroll to them. Especially what gets me is that most organizations, they're vulnerable to the simplest idea of ADCS, the subject alternate name.
Can you explain further? Like what do you mean?
Sure. So when all of the ADCS craze was released.
It was pretty much recently, like I would say a year ago.
Yeah. Something like a year ago. When it was published to the world, there were many ways to escalate your privileges. So escalation 1, so-called escalation 1, is the simplest. And what that means is there is a certificate template that allows you, or even in the worst case scenario, everyone in the domain to enroll to that certificate template.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and in addition, there was an extension that says that any enrollee that enrolls to that certificate template can specify a subject alternative name.
I think it's worth to mention that it's not just anyone. Like it's not like the authenticated users.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's even like the
Everyone.
domain computers or even everyone.
Everyone.
Yeah. It depends on the template and how it was configured.
Yeah, exactly. This is why these are misconfigurations. It's not necessarily a vulnerability.
Yeah.
There are many ways to fix it. And let me use the stage to address our dear organizations. If you guys in your organization are using ADCS in any way, please, I beg you, review your certificate templates ASAP. And yeah, this is like it's been a long time since it's been out. You know,
And
the
it's
whole craze.
pretty easy to fix.
It's pretty
Also
easy
pretty
to fix.
easy,
Yeah,
easy
it's
to detect.
exactly.
I assume there aren't that many templates on most organizations,
Yeah.
like tops if several dozens maybe,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's
It's not that
something-
hard to
Yeah, it's
memorize.
something that you can actually see for yourself and see if it's vulnerable.
Yeah, and as it is a quick win for offensive players, it is a quick win to a quick fix for defensive players. You know, just you guys can fix it by adding manager approvals, even it's not a single one, but two of them. Disabling server or client authentication, you know, the support of it by the template. You can revoke access or enrollment permissions to any users or really low privilege users.
Yeah, allow it to just very specifically high tier.
Yeah,
or
especially
privileged
if you
users.
can add sons. If you can add sons, so yeah, just domain admins, enterprise admins, or even, you know, a dedicated group of people that can do it. You know, and this it's a pretty much quick fix for organizations. Yeah.
I want to say that I think it happens because when the IT creates these templates, the default template just pretty much includes these authenticated users or the everyone, and this is why it's so prominent in most organizations.
Exactly. And yeah, it's been a year or so, even more, I
And
think.
it's still happening.
And it's still happening every single time. Crazy.
I don't think it's gonna go anywhere soon. It's,
Let's hope. Let's hope it's gonna be fixed.
It's been a year and still, you still find it.
Yeah.
When these organizations will eventually fix all these ADCS shenanigans,
About time.
yeah,
when it
and
happens.
so what do we as red teamers are gonna do?
So, you know, you have all of the old and gold techniques to win.
Yeah.
You know, actually, one of them that we use quite often is SharePoint searching, which sounds pretty simple. It is pretty simple, but it can yield tons of results, tons of precious data for attackers. So it goes like that. And I'm going to give a real example from real life, something that happened to us in the last year. We landed inside a landing domain. Let's call it domain number 1, the landing domain. It was a fully patched domain, Active Directory domain, Windows Server 2019. Everything was fully patched, not a lot of workstations, not a lot of servers, not a lot of users, just not enough. You know, not enough to work
like a
with.
completely new domain with no vulnerabilities.
Yeah, so we were stressed, to be honest. Like that's stressing when you see that. So what happened is that we had a target, a specific target that was another domain that we didn't knew happen. We didn't knew that exist even. So we went into Microsoft Edge. So what you need to do is pop out your Microsoft Edge. If your workstation is domain joined, so your profile, your domain profile is going to be synced into Microsoft Edge.
Oh, just like that.
Yeah, if your organization is on Office 365, probably that's what's going to happen. And also, if not, you can log in manually.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah, you can log in,
makes
you can
sense.
sync your profile. And what you're going to do is run a Bing query, a Bing search.
Bing. Who uses Bing?
Yeah. Here you go. Bing.
All right.
You search Bing, you click on that, you know, you got your web search, you got images, you got work. You got a work tab. If
Okay. I never noticed.
Yeah, if your
that,
work account is synced with Microsoft Edge, so you got the tab work. What happens there, you can search for the keyword, let's say passwords, and the search will yield results that include the word password. And that could be anything inside the Office 365 suite.
Oh, that sounds really easy.
Really easy, really simple, and it gets you tons of results. And what I mean by that...
Yeah, what were you able to find?
Okay, so what I mean by good results is we found a whole, you know, visual drawing of the entire architecture of the target, like the target project we wanted to compromise, which was great, you know, giving out domain names, subnets,
so
everything.
you not only search for password, you also search for like the infrastructure, network,
any data that can help us.
Yeah,
with our
any IT information that could help you like I would say, provide you reconnaissance information
Yeah.
about the organization.
Yeah, exactly. And the next thing that we found, we knew already how to connect to those machines and how to get in the environment, but
Alright.
we didn't have any credentials. So what we did, we ran another search and we came by an Excel spreadsheet that the IT staff created and listen to this. They created an Excel spreadsheet that includes every employee's both domain users and credentials, clear text, from the last 3 months. So what happens if a user forgets his password, the good, and merciful IT staff can reset their passwords. I don't recommend doing it like that.
Obviously, yeah.
Obviously, we harvested each credential from there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. We managed to connect. We figured out. So this is the whole SharePoint thing.
I think this is like an extreme case of.
Yeah. You can find. It's a whole gold mine out there. It's a whole gold mine, especially if the organization is rooted inside Office 365, because you can find.
I believe most organizations will use the Office 365.
Yeah. So you're doing that search. You get all your gold mine. What happened with us? So it ran up to full compromise of the deeper domain, and the deeper domain was a whole supply chain domain that controlled multiple plants of production.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and we controlled HMIs, PLCs, the whole supply chain. We could change values out of the whole supply chain. It was great impact.
Yeah. So just to summarize, like from the new domain that you started from, where you couldn't find anything on there. Once you move on to the Office 365, SharePoint, or all the applications there, and start pretty much using the Bing search.
Yeah,
and
Bing search.
Yeah, Bing search, and start searching for like common keywords such as infrastructure, password, and that pretty much gave you the whole keys to
the kingdom.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Gain access to all the critical assets in the. Wow.
Amazing.
That is insane.
Yeah. We encounter some nice experiences. Some nice experiences.
That's pretty cool.
While we do our work. All right, Kenny, I think we're out of time. All of these experiences and situations that we described here are just the tip of the iceberg and what we actually can tell and delve into in these talks.
Yeah, we explained so much more. There's so many scenarios and cases, engagements. Each organization is unique. There's so much to tell here.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me as well.
Thank you for joining our Cyber Talks. See you next time.